simultaneous mass revolt that we're seeing on the streets right now.
Ahmad, what effect has the uprising in Tunisia that led to the ouster of President Ben Ali had on the protests in Egypt?
Well, I think it's left people really inspired, and it's many people for the first time believe that revolution is possible, that political change from the street is something that can happen. Of course, there's many differences between Egypt and Tunisia, differences in the composition of the respective societies, of the regimes. Of course, the military and security forces in Egypt are much larger and much better equipped and better funded than they were in Tunisia. So of course there are differences, and a replication of Tunisian-style events in Egypt is still a question. But there's no doubt that people have definitely been incredibly inspired. I mean, people that I know personally who just a few weeks ago would have never thought to set foot in a demonstration, who were for the most part completely depoliticized, are taking to the streets, are fired up, and believe that being on the streets and calling for change can actually do something, can actually make a difference right now.
Ahmed, I've got two questions. I'd like you to end by once again describing what you're seeing as you overlook Tahrir Square and to talk about the significance of this square. But first, the role of the United States in shoring up the Mubarak regime. This is the place President Obama chose to give his address to the Muslim world in Cairo. Egypt is the second largest recipient of U.S. aid, well over $2 billion a year. How do Egyptians see the United States, and has Mubarak said anything at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, Amy, the United States has long been a chief supporter of Egypt, financially, politically, militarily, and then they really see Egypt as central to their interests in the region and to preserving the status quo and stability, using their language, in the Middle East. And most Egyptians on the streets are well aware of this, are well aware that the authoritarian regime that they live under is propped up by the governments of the United States, and are, I mean, obviously not happy about that. Now, Secretary of State Clinton made a statement a couple of days ago about reform in Egypt being imperative, about the immediate need for the Mubarak regime to undertake reforms, and the need to refrain from violent confrontations with protesters. But unfortunately, what we're seeing on the streets of Cairo right now, again, right before me, is the complete opposite. We see a violent dispersal of protesters who are marching in the streets, who are telling riot police that they want to march peacefully, and they've been completely blocked off from getting to Tahrir Square, which is the central square of Cairo. Now, just to clarify, I'm actually not looking at Tahrir Square right now. I'm looking at one of the main bridges in Cairo that leads into the square. So the square is completely covered with central security forces, and they're blocking any demonstrators from trying to get there, which is what these people on the bridge are trying to do. And as I speak, the clashes are still going on. There's tear gas canisters being fired. The tear gas has covered the whole area, and it's still going on in front of me right now.
Finally, Ahmed, we know that there's state security forces on the streets, the infamous Baltageya, who are, the thugs, paid thugs that the government pays to beat people up on the streets. Has there been any sign of military on the streets of Cairo or elsewhere?
I have not seen any signs of military presence, nor have I heard reports of it. Again, given all the constraints of getting information under these circumstances, I haven't heard any reports of military being deployed onto the streets. But there are thousands of central security forces, and I'm sure many plainclothes thugs that are ready to be deployed.
Thank
and
you
who have
very
been
much.
deployed for the past 3 days to beat up protesters.
Ahmad Shokr, thank you very much for being with us. Ahmad is an editor at the Egyptian newspaper Al-Masry Al-Youm, joining us from Cairo. Very difficult to get reports from Cairo right now.